The outer colonies teach you one rule fast. If someone knocks on your airlock this far from civilized space, you check twice before opening it. I was stationed alone on Kestrel Point, a refueling and repair outpost orbiting a dying red star. Traffic was light, mostly scavengers, smugglers, and the occasional lost trader who'd miscalculated a jump. I was an engineer by contract and a survivalist by necessity. Peaceful days were rare. Quiet nights were precious. So when my proximity alarms went off at 0300 station time, I reached for my sidearm before I even looked at the scanner. A single life sign.
Weak.
Fluctuating. No ship signature. That made my stomach tighten. I sealed internal bulkheads, vented external bays, and pulled up visual feeds. That's when I saw her, collapsed near the auxiliary docking ring, half dragging herself along the metal plating, leaving faint streaks of dark blue blood behind her. She wasn't human. Her skin shimmered like pearl under the station lights, marked with faint bioluminescent patterns that pulsed erratically. Her frame was slender but resilient, clearly built for a gravity higher than Earth standard. One of her arms was bent at an unnatural angle. Her breathing was labored. She looked up at the camera, and then she bowed her head. That gesture, universal submission or plea, broke through every warning bell in my mind. I cycled the airlock. First contact, an act without translation. She collapsed the moment artificial gravity stabilized. I caught her before she hit the deck, surprised by her weight. Denser musculature than a human. Stronger bones. Easy, I muttered, though I doubted she understood. Her eyes opened, large, faceted irises glowing a soft amber. Fear was unmistakable. So was relief. I carried her to the med bay, running scans and patching what I could. Her physiology was unfamiliar, but pain and blood loss translated well enough. Fractured arm, dehydration, mild radiation exposure. Nothing immediately fatal. While the autodoc worked, she watched me, not with suspicion, with focus. When the painkillers kicked in, she finally spoke, soft, melodic sounds layered with subtle harmonics. Definitely not a trade language, I recognized. I held up my hands. You're safe. I won't hurt you. She studied my face, then slowly placed her hand over her chest and bowed her head again. I am sorry, she said carefully, her translator implant crackling to life. Of the Volari clans. I exhaled. I'm Jonah. Human. This is my station. Her gaze drifted around the room. You offered me refuge. I frowned. I offered you medical care. In my people's law, she replied quietly, they are the same. I didn't realize then how heavy those words were. Middle. Shelter becomes a bond. Sorry stayed longer than I expected. Her ship had been crippled by a micrometeor swarm during an unscheduled jump. Long-range communications were down, and Volari space was weeks away, even at optimal burn. I repaired her vessel when I could, but replacement parts weren't exactly stocked on a lonely outpost. I offered her a bunk, shared my rations, gave her access to the comms array. None of it felt extraordinary, but she treated every gesture with solemn care. She observed my routines, asked careful questions about human customs, and assisted with station maintenance despite her injury. She learned quickly, too quickly, and adapted with an ease that made me feel clumsy by comparison. The Volari, I learned, were a clan-based honor society. Family bonds were sacred. Protection given without coercion created obligations that could last generations. You saved my life, Sari said one evening as we shared a meal, nutrient paste for her, reheated stew for me. That debt is not light. You don't owe me anything, I replied. I just didn't want you to die outside my airlock. She tilted her head. That is a very human answer. Days turned into weeks. The station no longer felt empty. Her laughter, rare but genuine, echoed softly through corridors that had known only machinery hum for years. And somewhere along the way, I stopped thinking of her as a guest. The arrival, gratitude on a galactic scale. The Volari fleet arrived without warning. 3 massive crescent-shaped ships dropped out of jump space around Kestrel Point, their hulls glowing with defensive energy fields. My sensors screamed. Auto-defense systems powered up. I was seconds from broadcasting a distress signal when Sari placed a hand on my arm. "They have come for me," she said calmly. "Please, do not be afraid." The lead vessel hailed the station. The transmission translated instantly. "Human Jonah of Kestrel Point, you have sheltered one of our blood. We request permission to dock." Request. From a war-capable fleet. I swallowed. Permission granted. They didn't board aggressively. No soldiers. No weapons drawn. Instead, a formal delegation arrived, tall Volari elders adorned with ceremonial markings, their presence radiating quiet authority. They bowed to Sari first. Then, astonishingly, to me. "You are Jonah," said the eldest among them, "the one who offered refuge." "Yes," I answered cautiously. "You are family." The words hit like a physical blow. What? Sari's eyes widened slightly. "Honored elder." The elder raised a hand. "The matter is already decided. Conflict, when kindness is misunderstood." In Volari culture, I learned offering shelter to a vulnerable clan member was a binding act, one that signified acceptance of responsibility, not temporary aid, but lifelong protection. By their laws, I had claimed Sari under my roof, and that made me eligible, expected, to be woven into their family structure, specifically as son-in-law. I nearly choked. "This has to be a misunderstanding," I said. "I didn't agree to." "You agreed when you opened your door," the elder replied gently. "Your intent does not diminish your honor." Sari looked torn between embarrassment and something like quiet hope. "I never meant to trap you," she said later, when we finally had privacy. "If you refuse, my family will respect it, though it will cause confusion." Confusion. Diplomatic fallout. Cultural insult. The galaxy suddenly felt very small. I spent a sleepless night staring out at the dying star, replaying every decision I'd made. Every meal shared. Every repair. Every moment of trust. I hadn't acted for reward. But the Volari didn't see kindness as currency. They saw it as commitment. Choice. Humanity's quiet strength. The Volari Council convened aboard their flagship. They invited me, not summoned. A subtle but important difference. They explained everything. The traditions. The obligations. The expectations. Marriage among the Volari wasn't ownership or dominance. It was integration. Shared protection. Shared responsibility. 2 families choosing to stand as one. "You are not required to abandon your species," the elder said. "Only to stand beside ours." I asked the question that mattered most. "What does Sari want?" All eyes turned to her. She met my gaze steadily. "I want what you choose freely," she said. "Nothing more." That was the moment I understood something profound. The Volari respected obligation. Humans valued consent. And here, at the intersection of those values, was a choice that could redefine both. I stood. "I didn't offer refuge because of tradition," I said. "I did it because it felt right. If becoming part of your family means continuing to choose that, choosing her, choosing this bond, then I accept." The chamber went silent. Then the elders bowed. Ending. A family among the stars. The ceremony was unlike anything human.